In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your wheel cylinder on your Hyundai Accent. It's located in your rear brakes. Using a 21mm socket, I'm going to take our lug nuts off. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is take the screw out. You're going to twist as you hit. Sometimes you got to give it a good whack right around here because the rust gets to it. Free that up, you can take off the drum. Okay, so let's just clean these up a little bit, see what we got. I'm going to use a little brake pad cleaner. You might need a drip pan below you. All right, first thing you're going to do is disconnect this spring right here. I used some wire cutters to grab a hold of it and pull it off. All right, now that you've disconnected your spring, you can just pry this apart. And now we can get to our wheel cylinder. Make sure you press your brake pedal down with a pry bar or something like it before beginning any hydraulic brake fluid jobs. And we're going to loosen up this brake line with an 11mm line wrench. Make sure you have a drip pan below you, because you will lose some fluid. But if you have your brake pedal pressed with a pry bar inside the vehicle, you're not going to lose all your fluid. You can switch this out with a regular wrench if you'd like. All right, once you get that fitting free, you can pull this line away. Just make sure you don't pull too much or bend the line. All right, using a 10mm socket, we're going to take out these two bolts, and that's what's holding the wheel cylinder in. All right, set these bolts off to the side because you're going to need them for installing the new one. So when you press this in, there is going to be brake fluid that comes out. Just be gentle about it. If it's stuck, put a rag over it so it doesn't spray all over the place. All right, now we're going to do the other side. And if you can't move it at all, you're going to have to move the shoe out of the way instead. And by doing that, you just move it with the pry bar. All right, so once you have these freed up from the shoes, you can go from behind here and just take it away from the backing. Like that. All right, so you're going to want to clean this out so the new one fits nicely. Just use a flathead screwdriver. Maybe a bristle brush. Now's a good time to take this out and just make sure this has grease in it, which it doesn't. And this is not frozen, meaning it doesn't turn anymore. So I'm going to put some grease in there, clean this up a little bit, and put it back. All right, so the new wheel cylinder comes with a gasket where the old one didn't have it. So just put a little silicone paste on there. And get your bolts started. I would also get your shoes in there once you get a few threads going back here to hold it in place. All right, so make sure your shoes are lining up with the wheel cylinder. Before you start tightening anything down, make sure just everything lines up well. All right, at this point, you can take out your rubber piece. It's a little plug for the brake line. And you can put your brake line in place. Do a couple of threads on that too. Okay, make sure you tighten them down good, and then go another quarter of a turn. Once you get that a little tighter, you can use your line wrench to really tighten it down. All right, so you're gonna put your spring in, you're gonna bring it over. You're gonna pull it down over here. You're gonna grab it right about there and pry up against that axle and clip it in. Make sure you line up your screw. All right, so now we're gonna put our screw in to hold our drum on. That's good. We are going to adjust the brakes now. You can do this a little bit now, and then when the wheel's back on, you can finish doing it. I like to start the process without the wheel on though, because it's easier to get to. So you're gonna wanna take off this rubber cap. You're gonna put that back on when you're done though. That'll keep the dirt out. All right, so you're gonna use this tool. You need kind of a small one that has a sharp turn to it. All right, so you're gonna push the wheel down towards the floor to make these shoes go out on the driver's side. So as you're turning the wheel, you wanna hear some drag, meaning the shoes are slightly touching the drum. So you're gonna hear like a soft scrape sound. Once you get there, you're gonna stop and you're gonna do the rest of the adjustment if needed when the tire is on. So you can kind of hear a high spot, like right there. So that's probably good. You can put your rubber seal back on for now so you don't lose it. So take your little rubber cap off, your bleeder screw, get a 10mm wrench. So now we're gonna do a gravity bleed. So we're gonna open up that bleeder. We're gonna have a drip pan below us, and we're gonna wait for the gravity to come through the system and let the air out. So we're waiting to see all the air bubbles, and when they're done, it'll be like a pretty steady stream. And then you can close it back up. All right, once you get a steady drip like that, you can close it down. I don't see any more air bubbles coming out. Just make sure you tighten it good. Clean the area with some brake parts cleaner. Let that dry. Put your boot back on. Now you're gonna get inside the vehicle and test your brake pedal out. Make sure it feels hard and at the top. If it feels a little squishy, you're gonna have to do a real full brake bleed procedure. All right, we're gonna put our wheel on. Set our lug nuts by hand. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to tighten up in a crisscross manner. Walk your wheel on, that bottom one. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to torque our wheels to 80 foot-pounds. In a crisscross manner. Okay, clean and inspect your cover. Take the cover off and take out your filter. Sometimes they're a little tough to get out, but after you take that out, we're going to siphon out the brake fluid. All right, so we are going to use our fluid extractor and siphon out our brake fluid as much as we can. And that seems to be all we can get out of there. All right, so now we want to top off our brake fluid. Make sure you fill it to the line. It says max. All right, so now we can put our cap back on. And we can start at our right rear, then go to our left front, left rear, and right front. Okay, so we are at our right rear. We are going to get a 10mm wrench. You're going to have someone in the vehicle pumping the brakes up, and then after they pump it up, we're going to loosen the bleeder. And it's to the floor. You're going to tighten the bleeder up. You're going to ask them to pump it up. Pump it up, please. He's holding it. I open up the bleeder. It's to the floor. I close it. We're looking in the hose here for air bubbles. So we're going to need to keep doing it till I don't see air bubbles anymore. Pump it up. It's to the floor. Closing my bleeder. Pump it up one more time. And that's to the floor. All right, take your wrench off after you've tightened the bleeder. Remove your fluid catcher. Clean it off a little bit. Let that dry. And you can put your rubber cap back on. Now we're going to go to the left front. All right, so take off your rubber cap. You're going to put your fluid catcher on there. Ask your partner in there to pump it up. Using a 10mm wrench, we're going to break open the bleeder screw when the person inside is holding the brake pedal down. It's to the floor. Tighten the bleeder screw up. Pump it up, please. Holding. To the floor. Tighten it up. Pump it up, please. Holding. And it's to the floor. I'm not really seeing any air bubbles at this point. So I'm going to tighten up my bleeder. All right. You can take your fluid extractor off. Clean the area. Let that dry a little and put your cap on. All right, now that we're halfway through, we've bled the right rear and the left front wheels. We're going to top off our fluids. It's always a good idea to check, and it looks like we do need some. So I'm going to put a little bit in, make sure it's at the max. Make sure you put your cap back on. And let's continue to the left rear. The process is the same as doing the first wheel, which was also in the rear. Then continue to the right front, which is number 4, which will be the same process as the other front wheel. All right, so now we're done doing our left rear, right front. The brake bleed process should be done. So let's take our cap off and top it off one more time. Fill it up to max. Okay, so now we can put our cap back on. Now we can get in our vehicle. We're going to check our brake pedal, make sure it's nice and high and hard. If it doesn't feel good and it feels like squishy, you're going to have to bleed the brakes one more time, because that means there's probably a problem or there's air in the system. If your brakes feel great, you're good to go. You can go for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.